Got a new toy in the post today. It's not this pot. I'm testing that out for size. It's this. It's a wood gasifier stove. Now it's not one of the 40-50 quid versions. This is, I presume it's a Chinese copy. Because it was only £14. Try to do all this one-handed so I can film it. Bear with me a second, I'll get hold of it. There we go, the mesh bag with it. Great. And an additional little thing for using with an alcohol stove, or perhaps even just putting liquid in there, maybe gel, whatever, but that's there if you want it. And here we go. Now it's the same sort of setup as the expensive one, apart from the lid. I'll just take this off. It's the same principle, nicely reverse engineered. And I'll pull this out. That's the top. Now you can get copies of the other expensive one, which has the rounded top on it here, and it has legs that fold out, and then the new version has metal ties that go across as a pot stand. But I quite like this design because it means that when your pot is on top of the lid, you've got a nice big area. It's not focusing very well. Got a nice big area to top up your fuel. Drop some more wood in, whatever. There it is. Okay, so let's put it together. So there's the base, which was just fitted on there. And the inside, just lift that up. And you can see that bit drops down. Now this top bit here is double walled, and those are the jet holes where the gases are going to come out at the top there. And hopefully those holes are where the gases from the wood's going to be drawn through the bottom, then up round the sides and heated along with the oxygen. I believe that's the, I'm going to focus this, I believe that's the principle. So let's have a look at it. Let's put that in there, make sure that's pushed down, and there's the lid in place. Quite a tidy looking thing. And it weighs, according to the website, and I haven't checked it on the scales, but it weighs around about 300 grams, give or take. Now I'd probably ditch this little thing, save a bit of weight. There it is, assembled. So quite smart looking. Yeah, it's pretty sturdy. And these, I was a little bit concerned about these, but they look pretty good. Actually a bit thicker than I thought they were going to be. This bloody thing to focus. Thicker than I thought they were going to be. It's not going to go there, is it? Oh, nearly. Anyway, you get a rough idea. So, the ideal fuel for this is wood pellets. Now that's also, you could use cat litter. It's basically the same thing, cat litter. So obviously you get cat litter from a pet shop. We have a B&M store here in my hometown, and they sell a huge bag of cat litter for just a few pounds. It's really good value. And as I understand it, if you fill this up to just below these the vent holes, you can get over an hour worth of burning from it. But what I'm going to do, because there's a lot of videos of people doing that, and I do have some cat litter, but I really want to try out some wood scraps and things. So this is some shavings and things I've got from a little whittling project that I was doing, and they are not completely dry. Yeah, they're a little bit moist there, but you can see it's got quite a bit of flex in it. In fact, that one there has a lot of flex in it. So I don't know how this is going to work, but let's just try it out anyway, because it could be the same thing. Oh, actually, very wet. Might not work. Okay. Anyway, you'll get the same sort of issue from twigs you find lying around, which is really what I want it for, is to burn twigs I find while I'm setting up camp and so on. So I'm just going to grab some of this and chuck it in there. I'm going to take this aside. I'm just going for the smallish bits. I'll leave that big bit. And oops, get a few more in. I'm not going to pack it too tight. These little bits in. So a few more. That's quite a big bit. A few more of the smaller ones. Right, still room for plenty more in there, but I think so. It's over the lip of the bottom grate, but not covering the vents. Let's put a little bit more in. No harm. There we are. So that wood is a little bit damp, and I'm trying to do all this one-handed, so if you bear with me a second, I'll just pause it while I sort the next bit out. Okay, so I've got a convenient little container here with some meths in, just a small amount. You can use Vaseline soaked cotton wool ball and so on, but I'm not going to be able to strike it with a fire steel, so I'm just going to put this in and use a lighter. I'm not going to put too much in because the idea of this isn't to be burning the meths. It's as a fuel. It's really just to help start the wood shavings off, or the wood chips. So I'm going to try and not spill masses in. Don't know, that might be enough. Don't know. Try a tiny bit more. Just for a good look. There we go, that'll do. Right, so we've plenty of that in, and I'm just going to give it a second to settle in. Soak into the wood a little bit. So while I'm doing that, I'll just have a quick slurp of my drink. So the principle with these gasifiers is that they burn from the top down, but they're burning not only the material they've got in there, but also the gases coming off that material as it heats. So the key thing about this setup is that hot air and the hot gases are drawn down and mixed with the air that comes in, and the air is heated up in this cavity, and then the hot air will come out of these vents and mixed with the gases. Those vents there, mixed with the gases, will ignite with the help of the little bit of flame that's going on the top of the material on here. So I've given that long enough to soak in, I think. Let's just get it lit. And I might need to do this again. I'll just see, because that wood is a bit damp, but whatever. Let's just see what happens. Right. Now, it does help to have the lid on these, I've noticed. It helps direct the jets. So, let's get rid of that stuff. I don't want an accident. And we'll just give that a few minutes and see what it does. So one of the other benefits of this setup is that the fumes that are burnt off, that come off the wood, so that's the smoke, and hopefully some of if there's any noxious chemicals. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if that's true or not, but it does burn off and gives you a lot cleaner burn. So you don't get a lot of smoke coming from it. So maybe good for stealth camping. Maybe good for, dare I say, indoors, even if you're in a well-ventilated room, or if you're perhaps staying in a bothy that doesn't have a fireplace. I would chance something like this. But it might be worth taking a carbon monoxide detector. You can get the non-battery powered ones pretty cheap. I think the fire stations tend to give them away. So just give them that a bit of time. So it's a more efficient burn, so you get more heat for your fuel, which means that your fuel is effectively going to go further. Which is great, and it's not going to give off any the nasty smoke and what have you. So I'll just give them that a few more minutes and I'll have a look. I'm not entirely sure how long it's going to take for it to start using the vents. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong vents. I was using the vents inside, but there's a nice flame going there, and that wood's not really browning. It could still be burning off the mess, I guess. I can see a little bit of jetting coming on, I think, there. Maybe not. Let's give it a little bit longer. So yes, you burn basically whatever you like, whatever you find when you're out and about. and things like twigs, pine cones. Pine cones are great. We've used them many times on little stoves. Similar setup to this, but more the square one where it folds flat. That's nice on an evening, just playing with that thing as well. I mean, after you've done your cooking, just dropping bits of wood in. And I'm sort of hoping we'll be able to do the same thing with this. Once the cooking's done, just throw little bits of sticks in and enjoy the fire. Maybe get a bit of warmth off it, or just playing with fire. You know what it's like. So there's a bit of smoke coming off there, but so it sort of suggests that it's not doing its job yet. But it could be early days, or it could be that wood's just a little bit too wet. But this is all part of the experiment. I'm still going to give it some more time because there is a reasonable flame there. It's difficult to tell exactly what it's doing. So I'll pause it for the minute and come back when things change. So I've given it about 5 minutes and it's burning really well. There's sort of evidence of the jets working, but not really, to be honest. It looks more like it's just burning like a hobo stove from the bottom through the wood, because the wood is getting eaten alive. There's not a lot of smoke, but it's just getting through that wood in no time at all. But the flame is pretty good. Oh, you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see them there. There are jets going on. Stand focus. There you are, there are jets going on that side there, but the wood is just being eaten alive. Now that was pine. It was actually it was a stick from some kindling. I bought a bag of dried kindling, but then when I was whittling the kindling, trying to make a fork or a spork or a spoon, I don't know if this is the right thing to do or not, but I wet the wood a little bit, thinking that it might help with the carving, because I've got mixed views on the carving, whether you should use the green wood or dried wood. I suppose it depends on what you're doing. So as I'm talking, there we go, it's actually just mutilated that wood. It has given off a good flame and it lasted a reasonable amount of time. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try the wood pellets. So we'll just pause it there and I'll come back in a second. So there we go, wood pellets in, and I've put a little bit more. I don't know why I do that, because this thing just won't focus. No. Wood pellets in, and I've put a tiny bit of the meths on it, just as a sort of a primer. And I noticed while I was doing it that the outside here is actually cool. Well, it's warm, but it's not too hot to touch, which is quite nice. So I was able to give it a bit of a wiggle to get the pellets to settle. And the light's just going down here. I've deliberately waited until the sun's gone down, just so we can get the effect of the flame if it burns well. But you can see where I've put it to. It's not all the way up to the holes, and there's a 2 centimeters, maybe centimeter in some places, gap between the holes, between the top of the pellets and the holes. So that's had a minute to soak in. So let's get the lid back on, which is probably really hot. No, all right. The lid, sorry, the pot stand. So it's ready to go, and then we'll just stick a spark in there. So you can see with that blue flame, that's the fumes off the meths burning off. I don't know if you can hear that. It's igniting the gases off the meths. Now, as I understand it, I tried to explain before, but as I understand it, it's the air coming up the sides inside of this cavity. So in order for that air to get in there, it has to be drawn through these holes. so it comes up around the side. Now there are a few holes on the bottom of the chamber that has the pellets in, but in reading about it, or watching YouTube as well, who doesn't love YouTube, it seems that it also sucks air through the top and sucks the flames and the gases down through the wood, which come out of the bottom of the inner chamber and go up the cavity also. I don't know if that's completely right, but that's what I gather. So I wonder if perhaps that chugging noise you can hear a little bit, I don't know if the camera's picking that up. I wonder if that's the air changing direction and drawing the flame and igniting, and it could be. Anyway, I don't know if I've put enough. Oh no, I haven't. Oop. It's thinking about it. I'll give that a minute and come back to you. Well, that was only a couple of minutes. Just quickly went and topped my drink up, and when I've come back, it's doing what it's supposed to do. You can see, without melting my phone, you can see the flames actually coming out of the side now of the stove. It's difficult to catch that, but I think you can see there they're coming out of the side. Might be better. Yeah, there you go. So it is doing what it's supposed to do. Now it's not a massive flame. Doesn't look bad. Really, the thing would be to cook something on it, or get some water on, or something. But those videos where you see people boiling water and going back to the clock, and just find that a bit tedious. So I think we all know that it's when it's going to boil some water. I don't care whether it takes 5 minutes or 7 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. It's whether this thing does what it's supposed to do and burns efficiently. So that's looking good. It's quite a still night. You can see the flames licking around a little bit, not a lot. So I'd be expecting to use this in all sorts of conditions, and it's really a high wind isn't gonna work. You need some sort of windbreaker. So I might look into making one of those foil windbreakers that we see quite a lot of on YouTube as well. You can buy disposable like baking trays, and those ones that you put your sandwiches on, like the platter trays or whatever they're called. I think something like that. I know the pound shop does them, so I could maybe try and modify one of those, or a couple. But that's a nice flame, and it is coming out of the sides. And I suspect with time it's going to get hotter, which is going to make it more efficient. It should do a good job. Let's have a look. Of the height over the stand, if I can get that roughly level, so the camera's roughly level with the top of the peg sticking up, you can see the flames going past them. So it should lick off the bottom of the pot. Now I haven't got anything in this pot, but I just want to see where the flames go. Get that roughly in the middle. Oh yeah, they're rolling around the bottom, straight from the side. Not lapping up the sides, but it's a decent sized pot. And out the way. And it's getting a bit dark. Yeah, well, they're going where they're supposed to go. It's not quite as intense as I'd hoped it might have been, particularly using the pellets as well, and obviously the pellets are dry. Now, quantity of pellets wise, I put in, I think it was roughly 5 scoops with my hand. Now, I've got pretty big hands, but I would say 2 scoops is maybe a typical sort of cup size with my hand. So there's maybe 2.5-ish cups of pellets. I'll just show you the pellets if you can see them. Let's get a few out and go in the light. So those are the, oh, there we are, those are the pellets. It's just cat litter, and I think it's just like a compressed wood shavings and yeah, quite brittle. Whoop, all over the place now. So standard stuff. You can get that in any pet shop cheap enough. See what it's doing. I'll take that pot off because I'm not doing any good. Now that looks great in there now. It's got the licking around the sides. It's not very intense. There's not a lot of them. Whether that's down to the fact that this is a copied stove, or perhaps it's well, I don't know. I'm not really sure what else could be. The quality of the pellets. I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so. But anyway, it is doing what it's supposed to do. I suppose really I should boil some water, but you know, just honestly, can't be bothered. That's something good. Well, I'm going to give it another 5-10 minutes and see how that gets on, and then I'll have a look at how far the pellets have burnt down, and see what the quality of the flame's like. So for the time being, we'll go back to the roughly the same height as this stand. Come on, there you are. It's about there, so you can see how high it's licking up. I'm going to put my hand next to it. It's going past the height of my fingers, so I'll give it 10 minutes and have a look and see where it is. So it was about 3 minutes or so, and what I've done is turn it to so the higher side of the pot stand is facing the wind, and the jets are really evident there. It's a good flame. It's nice and clean. And size-wise now, without burning myself, it's a settled thing. What's hot? That's out. That's way over. Way over the top of my fingers. Although it's moving around in the wind there, but it's definitely a taller flame. So it's taken a little while to, I guess, bloom. Is the word used with the alcohol stoves. But once it's gone, it's actually really quite nice. Nice to look at. And it's given off a good flame. Let's just see what it looks like with the pot on. Okay. So now, yeah, it's licking around the sides of the pot. So I think that's the trick. You just got to give it a bit of time. Let it do its job. Let it heat up the container so that chambers the metals nice and warm to warm the air up. And that seems to be it. That looks good. I'd be happy with that. So again, that's without a windbreaker. Now I suspect it wouldn't take much wind to push that flame way out the side. So I think that we're going to have a windbreaker in this kit. Not really sure what else to do. Let's get that pot off because it is empty. And again, I'm just going to grab that. The light's obviously way down now. I'm turning that with my hand, no bother. Just hold actually all the way up to the seam. You can see my thumbs on the seam between the two, so that's the bottom bit, and that's not actually hot at all. In fact, it's colder than before, and I wonder if that's because now it's drawing air in. The bottom, it's actually cooling the metal because there's a good airflow going through the bottom. Could be. I don't know. But yeah, looking good. So I'm just going to try something now. That's burning well there, and I'm very happy with the way the jets are working. But one of the things I wanted to be able to do was to be able to load the stove while it was burning. So I'm going to try putting some of those damp wood chips in it now and see what sort of impact that has. So I'm just going to drop that in, chuck a few in. There you go. Let's get a few more. Two bigger bits. Let's have a look. There we go. They're quite big. Right. Let's throw those in. Right, so now we've put in potentially some twigs or whatever you've got lying around. And let's see what happens. Still got the jets coming out of the side, but they're interrupted a little bit with those sticks. The flame's still pretty good. So I'm going to give that a minute again and see what happens. So that was maybe 3 minutes, and the jets are back. The flame's really high, and you probably can't see the wood through there, but it's browning. It doesn't look like it's burning, it's not sort of glowing. Melt my phone. So I wonder if the warmth in there is drying it out, but it's definitely burning well, and that's after dropping quite a few bits in. So there's a little bit of glowing there, a little bit there as well. Just the tips that are sticking up, catching. But that's looking good. I'm pleased with that. So let's just quickly do the pot test again. See where the flame is. And more of the same. Lapping around the sides. There's Junior. Cheese! Good boy. Yeah, it's really working well. It's lapping around the sides there beautifully. So very happy. I think I'll give this a go in the next outing. Try it out with cooking some food. Now the sort of food. Hang on, come back. He's got the light there. He's got the light there. Come back. The sort of food we tend to cook when we're out camping is often packets of stuff. So we boil water up with a packet of wet food in, and that heats the food. And then in some cases we'll just boil water and add it to a dry packet of food. And so that'll be the proper test of it. Thomas wants to be in the video. He's a good lad. But I would say so far, for the minute, that is a success. Get that pot off again. And okay, I added a little bit of wood to that, but looking at the pellets at the side there, they may be down about maybe a centimetre on what they were. But it's been going for a good while. The actual thing's been burning probably about 20 minutes, maybe longer. So 20 minutes is easily enough to get water boiling, and then if you've got wet food, it wants to be sitting in the boiling water for a good 10 minutes. So that's got to be good. It's got to be a success. So I'll leave it there for the minute, and there it is. So that's the 14 pounds. That's 1/4 Chinese version of eBay. That included delivery. Oh, come back. Hang on. Off you get. Oh, he's away. That included delivery. £14 and 5 pence. And that's working. Yeah, it's good. So I hope this video is interesting to some of you, and maybe useful. And yeah, why not? For that sort of money, you gotta speculate. But I'm going to enjoy playing with that. Cheers. All the best.